Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 17th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. Hopefully this episode catches you in a good mood, in a good spirit, with good energy. Hopefully things feel very Friday for you, whether you're listening to this on a Friday or not. As for me, things do feel very Friday. I'm having a good day. We took the day off, as I mentioned in the previous episode, and we started off going right to the dogs, and I checked in with the owner, and I was like, okay, so I'm here now. I should be able to come by in the afternoon if that works for you. And they're like, oh no, we're gonna be, here at noon, so you're good to go. This is your last run. So I was like, all right. It was a nice chill end. I did pilfer a little snack, which I will mention in the food corner in a brief second. But after that, we came home, and I was still pretty tired. Like, I just kind of hung out and gamed for a little bit, but I was like, I want to take a nap. So I went to sleep for a couple of hours, woke up, then got, energized, got an energy drink in me, and then I went to the gym. And it was nice to be back at it, full bore. It felt good. It felt nice. I will say I made some slight tweaks and slight changes. I cut out a whole I don't know how to describe it. I'll call it a circuit set, but essentially saying I normally, when I go to the free weights, especially on a heavy lift day, I've been doing this for the past maybe 2 months, maybe 3, where I like to do 2 sets of the same thing, one set at 60 and then another set at 50. So I was doing 2 of those. And I said, okay, I'm just going to do I'm going to do it at 65 and that's it. So we clipped that down and that felt good. And then I also cut out on the machine, equipment and stuff, I cut out incline bench or a chest press, because I'm I do enough of those. I think it's okay to cut that, and I don't think it's going to be a big miss. So, outside of that, everything was normal, everything was usual, and it felt good. I felt like I got a good solid workout on the weight training and then also on the cardio. So nice to be back on a full hour there. So yeah, that was nice. Then after the gym, I went and ran a couple of errands. I wound up picking up some socks from Family Dollar. I also scored a 0 bar. Because the old heads at work were talking about it. They're like, oh man, 0 bars are so good. They're so yummy, blah, blah, blah. And they got so worked up that they went on Amazon and bought a whole pack. And I was like, oh, I might miss out on that because I called off today. And I was just kind of feeling some FOMO. So I was like, all right, I'll buy a king size bar of 0 bar. So that's another food review that I had coming. And, so, pick up that and the socks. Then I go to Walgreens and I pick up creatine because I had ran out. I was literally doing half scoops and I was like, yes, give me this creatine so I can go back to full scoops. Yes. And then I got back home. So yeah, that's been my whole day. Now let me do this food corner real quick. So I decided to eat all this stuff pretty much in my snack alongside with what I usually get or make. So I have my little nut cup, and then I have some chips, some pretzels, and in this case an orange. And I had this Oikos 000 yogurt. It was the mixed berry. I want to say the big hubbub maybe about this yogurt was it was 15 grams of protein. That's pretty filling. That's pretty good. That's good numbers. So I was very curious, but it wasn't listing the calories or any of the other nutrient stuff, and I was kind of curious about that. So I look it up, and it's 100 calories, which I think maybe on the yogurt side that's pretty hefty, but not too bad, whatever. So I give it a try. And I gotta say, not a fan. It was very thick, and normally I would love a thick thing. I love a thick milkshake. I like my milk, vitamin D. So this you would think would be up my alley, but it was thick. There was no chunks. I don't know. I'm a Yoplait guy, I guess. This just wasn't hitting for me. It didn't have any kind of creamy finish. It just felt thick and almost, I don't want to say chalky, but something akin to that. So I didn't even finish it. I was kind of like, okay, blah. And then, I made the rest of my snack. I'm doing that. And I was like, okay, I think I can try the Zero Bar. I think my palate is cleared up. So I went ahead and I opened that up, gave it literally like 2 bites. And I was like, nah, this isn't it for me. There's something about it that just feels like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it feels like you're biting into some clay. It doesn't really feel filling. Like a Snickers feels good to eat. There's something about it that's very edible, and it tastes good. The Zero Bar did not feel as edible, and it did not taste as good. Like, I've had protein bars taste better than a Zero Bar. So I really don't know what the old heads at work were talking about. It gets a thumbs down from me. I gotta say it. Gotta be real. I will say, though, randomly, when I was at the Family Dollar picking up the Zero Bar, the cashier, she was like, hey, you gotta try it frozen. You got to. It's gonna break your teeth, but it's worth it. And I'm like, okay, all right. So we got the other half in the freezer now, and I might give that a try at another date. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. And if I break some teeth, I'm not gonna be very happy. But yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's a food corner. That's my day. I'm in much better spirits, so that's nice. I'm very excited for the evening. Like I said, I should be going to Northside. I'll give you an update tomorrow on the next episode about all of that. Knock on some wood. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. All right. Our first story comes from the BBC. Prince Andrew gives up his title as Duke of York. Prince Andrew is giving up his titles, including the Duke of York, he has announced in a personal statement. He has been under increasing pressure over his links with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, with calls for the palace to take action against him. That now seems to have resulted in the prince deciding to voluntarily hand back his titles and give up membership of the Order of the Garter. In his statement, he said he continued to vigorously deny the accusations against me. In discussion with the king and my immediate and wider family, we have concluded that the continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family, Prince Andrew said in a statement. I have decided, as I always have, to put my duty to my family and country first. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. With His Majesty's agreement, we feel I must now go a step further. I will therefore no longer use my title or the honors which have been conferred upon me. As I have said previously, I vigorously deny the accusations against me. Prince Andrew has faced a series of scandals, including a court case he settled with Virginia Joffrey, questions about his finances, and his involvement with an alleged Chinese spy. He will remain a prince, but will cease to be the Duke of York, a title received from his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth. So we had covered that previously, and I was kind of surprised that we're doing this, it seems, again. It doesn't seem like it's much worse or different. I mean, I'm sure in the whole hierarchy of things, and this means something, right? He's going to be doing less. He's going to be even further removed. But at the same time, he's still part of the family. He's still making his bag. He's still going to be fine and set for life. Nothing is going to happen to this man. And he still did a bunch of fucking obscene shit. It's wild to me. Also, it's weird too, because I think this is coming on the heels of Virginia Joffrey's book is coming out. Also, I think that there's been emails. I'll go ahead and read this highlighted section I have. But emails sent in February 2011 later emerged suggesting that Andrew had privately stayed in touch with Epstein, including swapping a message, keep in close touch and will play some more soon. Clearly this guy was with Jeffrey Epstein, or at least tied to this man in some capacity, pretty much it seems to the end. And, as more and more things came to light, whatever, it's I'm not this bad guy. No, you got me all wrong. I deny. And it's dude, Everybody knows. Everybody sees. Now, in terms of his titles being taken away, I think like it affects like his ex-wife. She no longer it can be considered like Duchess, but at the same time, his kids still keep their title. I really don't care too much about it. I mean, and if I'm being honest, I really don't like have too much of a focus or anything on this because it doesn't seem like much is going to change for Prince Andrew. You know, they're still going to call him Prince Andrew. I remember being very miffed when I initially had covered this back then, and I thought, well, okay, like at least he's being removed from the scene. Like he's not going to like have any like powers or control. It's like, no, he's not going to do anything. So now he's just like a layabout prince, it seems. It's like, so yeah, there's no crime, there's no punishment here, you know, like at least according to everybody on the level. But we see all this shit, like I said, there's a whole trail of this. There's literally a photo with him, Joffrey, and fucking Maxwell. Like they're all in the fucking room. Like. So it's upsetting in some ways. I'm happy to see, I don't want to even use the word justice here, but at least something is coming of this. But once again, it's of his own volition. Like, okay, things are looking rough. They're booing us. So yeah, let's like kick this guy to the curb, like a little bit more so. So yeah, I mean, I guess there we are with that. I just wanted to cover that, I guess, in my way. Let's see. We have another story I wanted to get to though, also from the BBC. Chinese Communist Party expels top generals in sweeping military crackdown. The Chinese Communist Party has expelled 9 top generals in one of its largest public crackdowns on the military in decades. 9 men were suspected of serious financial crimes, a statement released by China's defense ministry said. Most of them were 3-star generals and part of the party's decision-making central committee. They have also been expelled from the military. While the statement casts the expulsion as part of an anti-corruption drive, analysts say it could also have been a political, or could also be seen as a political purge. It comes on the eve of the party's plenum, where the Central Committee will discuss the country's economic development plan and vote in new members. They go through the 9. I'm not going to go through all their titles and names, but they are available. Of these 9, He Weidong was considered the most prominent as the second highest ranking official in Chinese military after President Xi Jinping, who is the chairman of the Central Military Commission, or the CMC. He Weidong was last seen in March, and his long absence from public view fueled speculation that he was under investigation as part of a purge of the military's top brass. He was also part of the Politburo, the Communist Party's apex decision-making body, making him the first Politburo-serving member to be investigated. The Defense Ministry statement said that the 9 men had seriously violated party discipline and were suspected of serious duty-related crimes involving an extremely large amount of money of extremely serious nature and with extremely detrimental consequences. It added that the men now face military prosecution, and said their punishment was a significant achievement in the party's military anti-corruption campaign. Now, I feel like, Western media is going to try to angle this narrative as like, okay, like maybe, yes, he's cracking down on corruption, or maybe this is like, political, domineering from Xi Jinping, And I'm like, I mean, look, I'm not an expert. I'm no fucking talking head on this shit. But to me, I hear a fucking corruption crackdown. I'm happy to hear about that. So at least on paper, as it reads, I like this. I don't know what to tell you. I would like to see some of that shit in America, but I know my administration, the Trump administration, is like, yeah, no, we have no problems. As long as you're agreeing with Donald Trump, you're fine. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can be corrupt as fuck. It's fine. As long as you are, prosecuting the enemies and you're getting them out of here and you're allowing us to do what we want to do, go off is cool. So, once again, I'm happy to see some corruption, weeded out. Shit, at least somewhere. Goddamn. All right, moving on to our next story. Once again, we got a BBC triple heater right now. Let's see. 5 takeaways from NYC mayoral debate as Mamdani and Cuomo clash. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm not reading this. I'm not reading all this. By all means, if you'd like to, you can hit the Google, you can hit the BBC, get the whole lowdown. for an average like big ticket debate, we're talking like some presidential shit, maybe for a state election, sure, but we're talking a mayor. Even if it's New York, I'm not that pressed about it. But this is a bit different, obviously, with Mamdani. It's crazy though that we have this situation. I don't feel like it should even be a conversation, and if it is, it should be between Curtis Sliwa and Zoran Mamdani. It's crazy that we literally revived Cuomo after he lost to Mamdani. He's running as some fucking independent, and he's saying the same bullshit lines. Like, there's nothing here that's different. So I didn't have much to really, take away from the debate clips that I saw. I didn't watch the whole thing. Nothing changes in terms of my perspective, who I'm rooting for. I'm still pressing for Mamdani to win this shit. It says here that from polling, it suggests Mamdani has widened his lead from 46%, while Cuomo stands at 33%. You can do the math there and, figure out where Sliwa, lands there. So Sliwa is his Sliwa. So, I mean, like I said, you could go through these takeaways. We could, mince it up a little bit, blah, 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 But honestly, this shit was kind of laughable to me. It still feels like a fucking, dumb joke that we're playing out, and as much as I love my lib friends, they're kind of like, oh yeah, it's a shoe-in, it's a lock, like Mamdani's for sure gonna win, and I want to believe that. I want to feel like that, but even though I feel like Mamdani is the best man for the job, they're literally trying to paint him as some dark, evil socialist who's gonna take over and ruin New York, and then from New York he's gonna take over America, da 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 da. We're talking about the mayor here. This is a more or less a figurehead position. I think the things that he is trying to spur on and put into place are good measures. You should want to see them in your city. It's wild that these are some things that we're fighting over. And once again, that we literally billionaires, fucking PACs, super PACs or whatever, got together and said, we need to fucking make sure that fucking Cuomo stays in this race and wins, even though he literally lost to this man already in the primary. But here we fucking are. And I am glad that at least, I guess I'm not glad. I don't fuck with Curtis Sliwa at all. I think he's weird. But it was interesting to at least see him in the political arena, so to speak, and what he had to say. I think he did say something, I'm wildly paraphrasing here, but something to akin about his street smarts and how he's been shot 5 times. And I'm like, I don't think getting shot makes you street smart. If anything, I think it kind of makes you a little street dumb. But I mean, hey, maybe that's a controversial hot take. I don't know. But, there's more takeaways too. I mean, shit, Cuomo tried to equate Mamdani to pretty much, he's all about Hamas and Hassan Piker. Okay, man, all right. That's a fun way to condense a whole person's run, essentially trying to make things about compassion and doing right by people. No, you're just evil and you're somehow an anti-Semite. We could get into the weeds about that if we wanted to. I don't, though. I don't. This is such a new conversation to me already. And once again, I feel like if you look at the 3 candidates as they are, it should be very glaringly obvious who you should be picking if you're just a normal, run-of-the-mill New Yorker and want to live a better life, right? To me, Mamdani is just a flat-out, clear and apparent fucking win. But we'll see how things go. We will see. And if there are any big updates or big takeaways, then, maybe I will come back to this and, we'll do a little update. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's my spiel on it. We have one more story, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. It's a bit of a local one. We're going to the Bell, though. You want anything? A little taco, a little Nacho Bell. I got you. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll close it out. All right, from WLWT5. Man accused of killing Taco Bell employee was allegedly fired earlier that day. A 21-year-old man has been charged, accused of shooting a Taco Bell employee in the restaurant's parking lot after he was allegedly fired that day. Jonathan Morris, 21, has been charged with murder. The shooting unfolded on August 29th around 12:15 at a Taco Bell on Guest Street. Police say the victim was shot multiple times. Police confirmed the man was an employee at the Taco Bell. Police identified him as Ryan Johnson. In court, prosecutors alleged Morris was an employee at the Taco Bell and had been fired earlier that day. Prosecutors state Johnson was in the parking lot talking with Morris when he was shot. The whole incident was allegedly caught on video. Morris's bond was set at $500,000. $500,000 secured. A grand jury date was set for October 27th. Johnson's grandmother, Valerie Davidson, spoke at the bond hearing, asking for no bond to be issued, stating, "He took a life." Excuse me. Davidson has spoken with WLWT after the shooting, describing Johnson as a devoted father, fiance, and employee who loves his job. He was an uplifting soul for me and our family, and for youth and other young men out there. A mentor to them, and he loved life. Obviously, there's a statement from Taco Bell. We're just gonna skip or whatever, but definitely sad. There's also of note a GoFundMe for Johnson put up. There's a link in the article if you'd like to go, do that. But yeah, obviously it's a very unfortunate story, very sad story. You can be disgruntled, you can be upset, but there's no reason to ever take things to that kind of level. You're grabbing a weapon and you're taking a life. Like, well, what does that do? That doesn't get your job back. Doesn't make your shit even any better. I don't know the context of the conversation. If I do get any more details and things like that, I'll be back. But definitely, it's a sad story, and it's not the first time we've covered a situation like this. I know before I was even podcasting, even during, I've missed stories like this. But this is kind of had a local thing. I had the time. I wanted to make a slot for it. But yeah, obviously condolences to Johnson's family. And like I said, if there's any more updates, I will be back. But yeah, that is the episode that I have for today. If you would like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. 3 ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars are appreciated, the fivers on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. But if you don't do any of those things, it's okay. I just appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate you vibing with me. But yes, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.